So today we're going to be going over my top 10 spring niche fragrances for 2021. About a week or two ago, I just uploaded my top 10 designer spring fragrances for this year. So if you missed that one, make sure you go check that out. That video, we covered fragrances that are right around $100 and below, all designer fragrances, which can be found readily online and on discounters. Today is all about the niche or luxury or high-end fragrances for spring. A lot of these can be found on discounters. I will link them down below. Some of these you may have to pick up on eBay, in which case I'll link to 100% authentic sellers there. And some of these you can find on places like Twisted Lily. Now, if you do shop with Twisted Lily, I do have an ongoing discount code with them. That is Chaos10. This code is always active, always live, and that will get you 10% off your entire order over there. So as we go through here, I'll try to tell you which fragrances I picked up from where and which ones are going to be the best place to get from certain discounters. But first, make sure you get subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. I don't normally ask you guys to do that, but please, if you like the videos, make sure you subscribe. I release a new one every day. And really quickly, let me know your top 10 spring and niche fragrances down below in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump right into this one. Starting off with number 10, we have a fragrance from Mancera. This one is Vetiver Sensuel. So this one right here, I believe you can get on jomashop.com for pretty much the lowest price I can find online. I don't think I can locate this one on FragranceNet or FragranceX, so you can get this one from Jomashop for, I believe, $92 for this 120 ml. Really good deal. Jomashop, 100% legit. They normally sell watches, but you can get fragrances there as well. I will have that link down below at number 10 for you. This one here is all about, obviously, the vetiver. You also get some lime and some orange as some of the other main notes from this one. So a little bit of a citrus, a little bit of a fruitiness, and just this nice, clean vetiver. Initially, when I first got this one, I was expecting it to be very, very heavy and dense. You know, I was expecting the vetiver to be, you know, coming across a bit darker, and I was expecting it to just be more centered around the vetiver. While this one does utilize vetiver quite a bit, which you would expect, it utilizes a lot of that citrus, a lot of that fruits. You have this nice clean musk in here. It's overall very bright and very uplifting, a lot fresher than I initially thought it was going to be. And that makes this fragrance perfect for springtime. You could pull it off in summer as well, although it does have a little bit more of that depth to it to where really hot summer days, it may not be the best idea. This can be pulled off in fall and winter as well, but if I had to pick one season for this one, spring is the most appropriate. That vetiver gives it this nice earthiness. There's a bit of a green facet about this one as well. It just smells like everything coming back to life. It has this outdoors type of feel, and that citrus fruitiness you get from this one gives it that nice fresh kind of uplifting warm weather feel. At number 9, we have a fragrance from Nishane. This one is Wulong Cha. This one has tea, bergamot, and orange is some of the main notes in this one, along with the nice muskiness. And this one is all about the tea. If you want an ultra super authentic tea fragrance, this one here is one of the best. I would say this, along with Silver Mountain Water by Creed, are a couple of my favorite tea fragrances that I've ever smelled. This one here in particular is a beast mode fragrance. You wouldn't expect something this light and this fresh to be very strong, but it is an Extrait, just like all Nishane fragrances, and this one performs as such. I mean, it is very strong both in longevity and projection. Not often do you get a beast mode fragrance of this nature, and this one is every bit of beast mode. Very impressive performance, very authentic tea note. Another one that's great for springtime, just has this refreshing kind of green aspect about it as well. Really, really well done fragrance here. I believe you can get this one on FragranceNet, FragranceX, one of the two, depending on stock. Wherever it is the cheapest, I will link it down below. At number 8, we have a fragrance from Frapin. This one is Passion Boisee. So really love the bottle here on this one. If we can get some focus, you'll see that up front you have the name right there. And then on the back you have this nice little design, which I think is pretty cool. Nice touch. I love the shape of the bottle. It does look like a niche product for sure. This one has tangerine, rum, and woods as some of the main notes in this one. So for me, I do pick up on that orange, that tangerine, get a little bit of that boozy rum, a lot of a woodiness, and just something that kind of comes across as like passion fruit, which perhaps maybe is what the name alludes to. This one does smell nice. It has that freshness. It has that citrus pop, but it also has a bit of that depth, that woodiness, a little bit of that sweet rum accord to give it a bit more substance and a bit more body for springtime when you still have some of that cooler weather. Summertime might be too warm for this one. Wintertime might be too cold for this one. So that really leaves you with spring and fall, the transitional seasons. And I think this one is really well suited for spring. It's a good performer. It's relatively affordable on discounters. I believe I got this one from Fragrance X a while ago. So if they do have that one in stock, I'll link it for you. But it's a nice little pickup here. One that doesn't get too much hype from Frapin. They have a lot of great fragrances. This one isn't one of my favorites, but it is still a really good one. And again, for springtime, I can't think of a better time of year for this one. Moving into number 8, we have Parfums de Marly Percival. So this one has amberwood, lavender, orange is some of the main notes on this one. And this just has a very fresh and very musky facet. Gets compared a little bit to Mont Blanc Legend and Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, and you definitely do see a comparison there with that muskiness that this one has. Really, it's all about that musk, that amberwood, the ambroxan, and a little bit of that citrus freshness. It just has your modern guy cologne smell written all over it. Something that's very fresh, very mass appealing, but also very versatile. Now, this is the type of scent that could be used all year round. If you really like it and you want to make it your signature scent, and you can afford to do so, being that this is a niche product, then you can go for it and it'll work for you really well. However, I do find that because it does have a lot of a muskiness to it, if you were to wear this in really high heat, you might not necessarily like the results that it yields, depending on, how hot it is, of course. For me, I would choose something different from Parfums de Marly for summertime, and you'll see that in my summer niche list if you don't already have an idea. But I just think it might be a little bit too much for really hot summer days because of that muskiness and a little bit of a sweetness that this one has, which leaves it really for spring, fall, and winter. And I think spring and fall, again, transitional seasons, are when this one is going to be best for. You get that freshness, you get a little bit of a sweet touch, that nice muskiness, and it's just ultra versatile in the springtime. Really, really nice one here. Great compliment puller. At number 6, we have one from Amouage. This one is Portrayal Man. So this has violet leaf, vetiver, and cade oil as the 3 main notes that are listed according to Fragrantica. I'm sure there's more in here, but really it is all about the violet leaves and the vetiver for me. And this one gives off a very mature, traditional, and masculine smell. Kind of fits in older school category. You just get that kind of a aromatic fougere feeling, just this classy man feeling. This is probably not something that you would normally find on a guy who is 19 or 20 years old, right? This is going to be something that people who are maybe 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are going to be wearing. It just has that more traditional feel about it, but I still really like it. I like violet leaves, I like vetiver, and really it gives a nice combination. Performance on this one is great. The bottle is just stunning. This is actually one of the main reasons I picked this one up. I just love that look. Very cool, very reflective. It does look better in person, but I think the camera shows it a little bit. Just very cool all around, kind of hypnotizing. Am I hypnotizing you yet? Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Subscribe to Chaos Fragrances. Did that work? I hope it did. Hit that subscribe button down below. I believe you can get this one on Twisted Lily. That's probably going to be your best bet. They carry a lot of Amouage fragrances. And remember to use my code CHAOS10 to save you 10% off their price. So breaking into the top 5, we have an Acqua de Parma. This one is Chinotto di Liguria. I probably completely butchered that, but at least I tried, I suppose. That's really all I can do is try. The important thing about this one is the scent. We have Chinotto, obviously, is one of the main notes. We also have rosemary, orange, and musk as some of the other supporting notes. So this one, like most Acqua de Parmas, have a mature and traditional type of smell. There's just something about this style of perfumery that's really pleasant for me, really quite intriguing, because they all do kind of give off a similar feel, which is this well put together, classy, successful, potentially well-off type of gentleman. That's just what it is. They all smell like a gentleman, Acqua de Parmas do. They just have this vibe about them. Really, really cool style of perfumery. If you haven't tried any Acqua de Parmas, I recommend you do so. I don't have that many of them myself. It's something that it's taken me a while to get into, but this one here is really good, and it will definitely make you want to dive into the house more. There's a nice, that musk comes through quite a bit in this one. You get that orange, a little bit of a creaminess. You get that Chinotto, which is something you don't normally see used in perfumery. And again, you have this kind of lavender feel. You have this traditional type of smell about it. You know, very much not a modern men's fragrance, more of a kind of a, you know, throwback type of fragrance. You know, this is for the guy who wants to smell classy, wants to smell well put together, just wants to smell successful. This is what this fragrance is all about. Great quality, very smooth, good performer, and for springtime, this right here is a nice choice. I believe I got this one probably from Fragrance Net. It's usually where you can get a lot of Acqua de Parmas for a really good price. At number 4, we have Amyris Homme Extrait by MFK. So this one has tonka bean, vanilla, Amyris, obviously, and a little bit of orange as well. The orange and tonka bean mixed together gives it this nice creaminess. You get that Amyris in here, just giving it this powderiness as well. This smells great, and when I first got this fragrance, I wasn't too impressed by it. Over time, I've started to come around to it more, and I love how it comes across. You'll find that this one's going to be maybe a bit more warm, a bit more powdery, and a bit more sweet than some of the other ones, but I still find this one to be really good for spring. And for me, my thought process behind this one is this would be perfect for a gloomy spring day. And really, that's what spring is all about. You know, oftentimes you're getting a lot of rain. You know, you get into end of March, into April, you start getting that rain often. And this just kind of smells good for a rainy day. It's kind of smooth, it's comforting. It's kind of warming for a, you know, a rainy day when it's, I don't know, 50 degrees, maybe you're staying in for the day. You can spray this one on and it's going to work really well. A lot of the other fragrances in this video are geared more towards those sunny, warm spring days, but if you need something for a rainy day, Amyris Homme Extrait is a really nice one to grab. Performance on this one is out of this world. The original performs good. The Extrait takes it to a whole nother level. Of course, it's an MFK, so that quality is going to be top notch. The blend is superb, and this is a really good scent. Now, I'm not totally sure on the availability of this one. The Extrait's been out for a little while now, but sometimes it's, you know, not really in stock. So if you can't find this one on Fragrance Net, Fragrance X or something like that, Twisted Lily for sure will carry this one. And again, you have my code to get 10% off there. Wherever it's available, I will link down below so you can get to it easily. So breaking into the top 3, we're getting down to fragrances from my favorite niche brands, period, which is really cool. And we're also getting down to just the fragrances that I'm personally going to be wearing the most this spring. Obviously, I am planning on wearing all of these often because they did make it down into this list. But when it comes down to it, you know, I have so many fragrances in general outside of niche, and I'm getting new fragrances in on a daily basis that I have to test and wear for you guys, for the channel. And so I can only really wear so much for myself. And so I have to be wise about it when it comes to spring, what I really want to enjoy in the springtime. And these top 3 are the ones that I'm looking forward to wearing the most, and the ones that are probably going to be on my skin the most when I'm not testing other stuff. At number 3, we have one from Roja Parfums. This one is Vetiver. You can go with the Parfum Cologne version right here. Going to be your most affordable option and the brightest version. You can also just go with the Parfum. In my opinion, really for spring, the Parfum Cologne's the way to go. It has this bright, effervescent quality about it, more so than the Parfum, which is a bit more dense. This one here, either version, smells so clean, so classy, so elegant, and so refreshing. It's a green fragrance all the way through, coming from that vetiver, coming from some of the other notes. The bottle on this one is very fitting for the scent. You have bergamot, vetiver, and cedarwood as some of the main notes in this fragrance, along with the whole mess of other notes. It's kind of funny when you look at this one on Fragrantica, the Parfum Cologne in particular. You have a couple top notes, you have a couple mid notes. Vetiver, I believe, is one of them. And when you get to the base, it's just like, you know, explodes. There's a ton of notes, and that's what Roja is known for. All of his fragrances are very extensive with the note breakdown, but the ones you do need to focus on really is that vetiver and that bergamot opening. It's killer. The vetiver stays through all the way. That's what this one's all about. Nice, smooth, clean, sparkling vetiver. Again, this Parfum Cologne, it's really nice because it does have this effervescence and this brightness. It shimmers and sparkles off the skin and smells amazing. When you apply a little bit of heat to it in the springtime, this one is a knockout. If you want to get Vetiver, Parfum, Cologne, Twisted Lily is probably going to be your best bet. Sometimes discounters will have them, but they'll actually be more expensive than retail, which is just kind of going in the opposite direction. So check out Twisted Lily, Chaos 10 for 10% off if you want to get any Roja fragrance for that price. Usually they're going to be the way to go. Breaking into the number 2 spot, we have a fragrance from Kilian Paris. This is one of my favorites from them. This one's kind of a divisive one, and I'll talk about that in a second. I'll tell you what it is first. This one is Smoke for the Soul. So why I say this is interesting is because when you look at Kilian as a whole, when you look at the brand, a lot of times their fragrances will develop a cult following. So for example, Straight to Heaven, Intoxicated, Black Phantom, Back to Black, Apple Brandy, all of these fragrances, you will see so many people who are in love with them, and I'm right there with them. I love Kilian. It's one of my favorite niche houses, and I love all those fragrances that I just mentioned. They're all really good, and you'll find that a lot of people will agree. A lot of people will say, oh, these are so good, and because of that, the brand really has developed kind of a cult following. However, Smoke for the Soul is one of those divisive ones where if you look at the reviews, they're a bit more polarizing, right? There's some people who just don't like this fragrance, and I'm not sure if it's because there's a cannabis note in here that's somewhat prominent and people are against that, or they just don't like the smell, but you'll find that this one, not so much of a cult following. This one has cannabis, eucalyptus, grapefruit, and a hint of tobacco as some of the main notes. So that cannabis eucalyptus note sets this fragrance off. This stuff smells so good. It just, man, is that nice. The cannabis isn't so super strong. You can wear this out in public. You can wear this to work. You're not going to smell like pot. Let's be real. You're not going to smell like that. It's not like a smoked cannabis. It's a herbal cannabis, like the cannabis leaf, not smoked cannabis that's all stale and nasty, right? That's not what this is about. It's herbal, it's green, that eucalyptus comes through, gives it a bit of a sparkle, a little bit of a freshness, that grapefruit up top, lending to a little bit of a freshness, and then this just nice, very mild tobacco note that you get in the base, and that doesn't really come through in the opening. It comes through after it's settled down, and you could pick up on it a little bit from the atomizer. It's a little bit warm, it's a little bit smooth and powdery, and the dry down, the opening is relatively fresh. This isn't really one that I would opt for in the summertime, not really one I would want to wear in the wintertime either. Just two extremes in terms of temperatures there. Springtime is what this one's all about. That herbal quality, that green smell is perfect for spring. This is a really, really good fragrance. I love this one. Each time I smell it, I fall in love with it more. And I find that this is a Kilian that I reach for more often than a lot of the other ones, and that's simply because it's wearable. Straight to Heaven, Apple Brandy, Intoxicated, those are heavier, sweeter, darker fragrances that I don't always want to gravitate towards. But this one is such a dumb reach, such an easy one to wear, and I find that this one gets a lot more attention than some of my other ones quite often. Finally, at number 1, we do have a fragrance from Creed. Now this is one where I've gone back and forth with so many times. I owned it at one point, I sold it, I got it back. It's been a process, and the times I did own it in the past, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And something changed over the years as my taste has developed. It has changed to the point where now this is one of my top 3 Creeds. It is such a good fragrance, and by no means is it an underrated fragrance or anything like that. This is one of the more popular Creeds. It's not a Ventus, but it's really the next one down from a Ventus. It's Green Irish Tweed. So I owned 2 bottles of this back in the day when I was collecting Creeds, and I was going through a phase where I was acquiring a bunch of vintage Creeds. I had like a 2008 and maybe a 2011 batch or something along those lines. I could have that off, but they were old bottles. And I liked them, but I didn't love them. I ended up selling them, and just recently, within the past year, I've acquired it again. I've got up to 3 bottles now. This is a newer bottle. I'll let you know the batch. I believe it's a 2016. Yep, 16 CO1. I've got like a 2011-ish or 12, and then a little bit of an older one as well, 2015. So I've kind of acquired a few different batches from different years to compare them for a video at some time in the future if you're interested for that. But this is just such a good gentleman's classic masculine fragrance, and it's one that I am just absolutely in love with now. Never used to be that way, but I could sit here and smell this all the time, and as soon as the weather warms up a little bit more, it's been kind of going back to cold, but when we get a little bit more warm weather, this guy is going to be on my skin every day. I'm so excited to wear this one. Springtime is literally the perfect time of year to wear this fragrance. You got iris, you got lemon verbena, you got ambergris, and you have violet leaf in here to create this sparkling, bright, effervescent green, obviously sexy men's fragrance. You get a bit of a soapiness out of this one. You get a kind of a creaminess from the ambergris, and it's just such an interesting and unique fragrance. Even though it gets compared to stuff like Cool Water, this is miles ahead of Cool Water and any of the other versions, and that's not me being a niche snob. I will fully admit when a cheaper fragrance is better than an expensive one, and I've done that before. This right here is not an example of that. This is where really, if you want Green Irish Tweed and you want to experience the magic, you have to get Green Irish Tweed. There are clones that come close to it, but nothing's going to beat the real thing. Gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. And springtime is the perfect time of year for this one. Can't wait to wear this one. And by the way, that Kilian, I believe you'll probably end up wanting to get on eBay or somewhere if I can find a good seller for it. I will link it. And Green Irish Tweed you can pick up from Fragrance Net. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That was my top 10 spring niche fragrances for 2021. Remember, let me know your picks down below. And I will leave links down below for you to grab these at a discount. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.